Hello again, everyone. It's Marie Forleo, and this is a live that we talked about. We are actually going to have a guest on, so I'm going to hang out for a few minutes while everyone starts to come on the line today. Let me know where you are watching from. Hello, everyone. We are waiting for our incredible guest who is going to be talking to us about neuroscience and unconscious bias. So I'm going to wait for her, Shantay Jovan Taylor, to come on. And in the meantime, just let me know where you're watching from. Hi from Hong Kong. Hello. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Hi everyone. Hi Dean. How you doing? Let me just see here. There she is. Okay, I'm adding Shantay in. Just gonna wait for her to come on to the live. Hi, Vienna, Australia. Austria's in the house. Yes.
Oh,
Look at you. Okay, wait. I need to gush on you. Those glasses. I can't. Okay, so everyone, before we get to gushy and we get into everything, I need to just read your official bio. So I put the title. I didn't even know that Instagram Live lets you do a title now. So I just popped in the title. I know. Okay. I don't know where that's going to show up, but they have new features every day. So I was like, we're going to talk about the neuroscience of unconscious bias. And this is Shantay Jovan Taylor. I'm going to read about you just so we get it right, and then we'll just go talk.
Okay, sounds good.
Shantay is a neuroscientist, a success strategist, a thought leader who is igniting minds around the world through coaching, training, and speaking. And by demystifying neuroscience, she inspires people to use their brain powerfully to reach their full potential in life, profession, and business.
That's what
you do. Okay, I had to just get the official bio out and just want to set the stage.
Yes.
So y'all, Shantay is doing a webinar on the 23rd.
That's correct.
Which we're going to talk about. I'm going, but we just want to give you a little preview because I want as many people who are interested in this to come along and learn from me. So I'm going to be quiet in a minute, but I just wanted to set context so people are like, what's going on? What are you guys talking about? This is what we're going to be talking about. So we'll tell you more about the webinar in a few minutes, a little bit later. But I just have to say thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and just really showing amplifying this message. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself and your work. Start wherever you want.
Absolutely. So thank you for reading that bio of me. I didn't always start off as just a neuroscientist training, leaders and coaches. I actually started off in the clinical world. So I spent 10 to 12 hours a day telling people what was wrong with their brain, people with dementia, brain injuries. But I felt that I wanted to use the brain research and knowledge at a greater level. Even though that's important to do, assess those type of people, I just felt like everybody should know about their brain, not just the people, who needs to know what's wrong with their brain, because, what we know from neuroscience is that when we focus on something, most of the time where our energy goes, our attention also goes. I was really designing my brain to see what was wrong with people, and it spilled out into my life, my whole world. And I didn't like that feeling. Like, I'm looking for what's wrong with people. And so just my experiences, I just wanted to start to change what the dynamics in different cultures, because I started to see what are the consequences when people feel suppressed in their voices, when they don't feel heard in the workforce. It really affected their productivity and their focus, and that fascinated me. It horrified me, but it also fascinated me. So I said, how can I use neuroscience to go into organizations and change the dynamics, the culture, to where everybody feels heard, everybody can unleash their creativity, and not feel suppressed, and feel like they're really a part of the mission and really owning their positions. And so I didn't really know how to do that when I decided. And then I came across Marie Forleo on Oprah. And I think our worlds are parallel to where you're working in these, you know, limited environments, but you have this whole personality, this whole side of you that you want to unleash to the world. And so I learned from you this whole idea of, you know, taking your personality with you, taking what you learned with you, your gifts and your talents. In my case, neuroscience. I love the brain, but I didn't know how to really infuse it into the world. So now I teach everyday people. I teach train leaders and coaches how to understand the greatest technology on the planet, to really tap into their higher selves, to be intentional about, you know, staying out of that primitive brain and going to those higher places in our brain that we now know that we can intentionally go and, you know, change our inner world and have effect change on the world and our relationships and how we make decisions and all of that. But it does take some work to dig in and understand. So
Yes.
I did add that in my bio that, you know, I'm demystifying the brain, because some people hear neuroscience and like, what are you talking about? Like, it sounds complicated, but I love the fact that I make it as simple as possible so that people can understand what they need to know about your own brain, your own Ferrari, so that, you know, you can take it to the next level and use it however you want to go to the next level of your potential.
I love this. Thank you for sharing all that. I have tried, and I love this conversation so much because I've tried over the years, even though I don't have a degree in neuroscience, just to read books and to study, because you're so right. It's like, this is so powerful, but we're not taught how to use it, or we're not taught how to understand it.
Right.
Tell us more, and we can go wherever we want. I just want to make sure, I want to honor your time, and I want to make sure that everybody knows who we're talking to. This is Shantay Taylor. She has an incredible webinar that's coming up that's about unconscious bias. Can you talk to us more about how you started to make this link? Because I hear, you know, all of us want to know more about our brain. Tell me more about neuroscience and unconscious bias.
Absolutely. So the brain is really the final frontier of our human understanding. You know, we know a lot more about our heart and bones and all of that, but the brain is the center of our decision making, our belief systems, our perspectives, how we see others. And those perspectives are shaped by our experiences. You know, those first impressions are shaped by our experiences. And I'm not here to judge, you know, people's biases, because we all are born the same, right? We're born as an infant and we grow up in environments and we have different experiences. And some of those experiences may limit our interaction with other people, other cultures, other situations, and those shape our impressions of situations and people. And some of those can be biased. And not all biases are wrong. I mean, there's reasons behind why our brains are wired for bias. It's energetically efficient to make snap judgments so that we're not constantly using mental energy to relearn why we like something or why we think a certain way about something. What gets in the way is when those perspectives are distorted because of our limited experiences. And that's when you get the disparities. That's when you get the, you know, unconscious discrimination. That's when people make decisions about whether they're going to, you know, put a resume in the interview pile versus not, you know, because maybe they're not exposed to certain names, or the name sounds ethnic or something like that. And so, I mean, we have those unconscious biases, but we also have conscious biases, right? And sometimes those unconscious biases come out and, you know, there's a part of us that knows it's not right, but we don't really do anything about it. You know, we kind of sweep it under the rug. And the reason why I have been called to do this seminar, which I would normally do in organizations or for my, you know, coaching students, is because I really believe that we are in a collective conscious movement. And I feel on every level that people are ready to do the deeper work to understand where these biases are coming from, how are they established, and how can I unleash the hidden ones that may be causing undue harm to those that I interact with on a daily basis. I inherently believe everybody is good. Okay, I think most people on the planet are good. They don't want to do harm, but they, sometimes they say things that, will put off somebody or trigger somebody because they just don't have the sensitivity to it, because they didn't understand the bias was there. They didn't understand that what they said was culturally insensitive, okay, or a stereotype or something like that. So those are the deeper things we can actually address when we understand the mechanisms of bias, where they are formed, how they are formed, and then we can apply the strategies that you learn in these diversity and inclusion trainings that they really don't work until people understand the deeper why of the brain, like the physiology of the brain, because people are going to be resistant if you tell them, well, you're biased or you're prejudiced. They're not going to really want to attend those trainings. But if you say, let's normalize biases. Bias is efficient for the brain to survive because it doesn't take a lot of energy to make snap decisions. Yep. But let's parse out which biases may be causing undue harm. And then we can apply the strategies that people were more likely to follow consistently to change that inner dialogue and those belief systems and all of that. So we have to go deeper in our understanding of biases if we really want to change collectively. Okay, and I'll just give the example of learning to paint, right? You can say, hey, I want to learn to paint today. And then you can go to the art store and, buy some paint brushes and, just random stuff. And you can crank out something on a canvas. But if you want to go deeper, if you want to become a master, right, you're going to take a class. You're going to start going to art museums. You're going to start immersing yourself in the culture, right? So I parallel that to today. It's not enough to say, I want equality, or I want equity, yes, or I want to change, or that wasn't right. We have to go to another level, because what this pandemic has revealed is the gaps in our society, the disparities in our society, and that can no longer be hidden. Okay. Yes. And so it also unveiled people's biases as well that people are grappling with. And while everybody has been kind of on lockdown, we've had more time to do inner reflection. We're not as distracted. So now we're forced to see the gaps. We're forced to see, people who are, being disenfranchised or being affected more than other people. On one hand, also, the pandemic has leveled the playing field, because some people may have had the perspective, when they watch people of a lower income, well, why are they in that bracket in the first place? Why don't they have money saved up? But the pandemic kind of leveled everything to where people are showing up in food pantry lines and they never thought they would be in that place. So now what has happened? Their perspectives have changed. Yes. So that means it has, kind of reversed those first impressions, those hidden biases that they've always had. And so the beautiful thing about the brain is that it's malleable and it's changeable, right? Like, yes, we can redesign it, right, for this beautiful human experience, this journey that we really want to get and evolve to the next level. But we have to start here. Yes. We have to do it deeper.
I feel like one of the most hopeful things that I've ever learned was the fact that there is neuroplasticity, that yes, this thing is not set in terms of our talent, our learning, our mastery, our ability to understand things, or our ability to be in a particular way in the world. And I remember when I first learned that, I was just like, this is magic. This is a miracle. This is so utterly hopeful. And so what I'm hearing you say, Shante, is that this is also a moment where we can actually go deeper. I want to highlight and underscore something else that you said that I feel like was so important.
Yeah.
In this moment where it's like, okay, diversity, inclusion, what you said that struck me so hard was like, yes, all of that is important, but if we don't go deeper first to understand our brains, then all of that stuff almost feels like it won't be as effective, and then it won't be as long of a lasting change. Did I hear that right?
Yes, absolutely. It kind of stays on the surface.
Yeah.
Right? So it's one thing to say, I want equality and I want to change the dynamics of, how I engage with a certain community or certain people. But it's another thing to go into those communities and actually form relationships and understand the cultures and have the conversations. And I'm not just talking about race either. I'm talking about, spending time with older people, senior citizens, because, people have biases against different age groups and, whether or not they can use technology. And so that harms hiring practices or, there's all kinds of biases. And in order to really explore what our own individual biases are, we have to unearth them. We have to dig them up, and they are not going to feel good. We have to go beneath the surface. Okay. We have to immerse our minds in the culture of understanding the brain and biases, so that we can release them and truly intentionally start to change them. And just one simple thing we can do once we unearth them is really changing our experiences to change our first impressions of people and situations. So I really think it is the time that can no longer be ignored. So we had the pandemic, and then we had, the police situations, with the dynamics of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. And people couldn't ignore that, those dynamics. And so maybe they had biases towards, people of color, men of color, but there's some things you just can't ignore, that there is actually injustice. And regardless of somebody's past, they should have due justice, right? They shouldn't be able to be killed on camera, by a trusted public servant, right? So there's just some things that we can just on a common ground say, yeah, no, that's too far. Right. And what has led to that? And what has my role been in perpetuating the stereotypes or the biases? How have I seen people, in that situation? And, if you find yourself justifying it, then we're talking about a whole different mindset. So when I talk about unconscious biases, I'm not really talking to people who are consciously biased and they want to stay that way. That's a whole different dynamic.
You're like, yes, yes.
That's a whole different training.
Yes.
But like I said, I think most people are innately good and they innately want to treat everybody fair and equitable. Yes. But when we have systems in place that are not equitable, then we have to realize that we may have some unconscious things that may be informing our decisions, our hiring practices, how we educate children in the classroom, students who may easily excel in the classroom versus who don't excel. Teachers have biases too. I actually worked in the LA school system as a high school biology teacher. So, I was able to have that experience and see that dynamic as well. And I can honestly say 90% of the school population was Hispanic. And so I had biases that I did not know I had. So yeah. We all have them. And I think one of the key things that I want to get across is that we have to normalize that we all have biases and all of them aren't bad. Because if people hear the word bias, it has a negative connotation already, yes. Right?
Yes.
So we have to break down the barriers in people's mind, or they'll already be in protective mode. They'll already yes. have obstacles up, and they won't even be able to hear what we're trying to say. It's like their prefrontal cortex will be, the blood flow will be reversed, and they won't even have the attention or the desire to learn the deeper why and the strategies to put in place to overcome the biases. So we really have to break down what bias really is, and that's something that I talk about in the seminar as well.
I love that. So for anyone interested in watching right now, because Instagram doesn't have a great linking function. What
Absolutely.
is the easiest way for anyone watching this to find your seminar, to learn about when it is, and to sign up for it?
Absolutely. So the seminar is the neuroscience of unconscious bias, and we're going to be exploring for 2.5 hours where biases are formed, how they are formed, and what strategies we can do to try to reverse that. On a conscious level, we have to bring it out to a conscious level. There are assessments, there's psychological assessments. People go into the MRI machine with brain scans, and we can actually see people's unconscious bias. We can show them images, we can ask questions, and they may say something consciously, but in their brain is registered as something else that we can determine as, a bias, a negative bias. We don't have access to that. So
yes,
but what you have access to is my seminar, where
yes,
you don't need to put your brain in an MRI scan to find out what your bias is. So we will explore the brain, and I will simplify it. But you still got to bring your A game and focus.
yes.
It'll be very interactive to explore your biases, and then we're going to track how to overcome them intentionally until they become second nature. Okay, and I will tell you, the brain doesn't like change. Okay, the brain that's why we don't lose weight easily, or change habits, because the brain is like, yeah, that's going to take too much mental energy. So this seminar is literally for people who want to do the deeper work. Okay, you gotta want to do the deeper work this time around, in this moment in our human history. Okay, in present time.
Yes.
And be kind of geek out about the brain as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What can people Google? Because I'm watching the comments as I'm listening to you. What do they Google to get to where the registration page is? What should they Google?
Absolutely. So you can go to changeyourbias.com. changeyourbias.com, and that will take you to the registration page that breaks down exactly what you will receive when you do the 2.5 hour seminar with me. It'll be very interactive, very engaging. So if you can attend live, that will be fantastic, because I really want you to be engaged in your own brain, okay, in your own unveiling. And there might be some tears, there's going to be some laughter, but there's going to be some growing. There's going to be some deeper work. And then you will also have a recording, and then we'll do 2 months of processing questions, sharing insights, because I want to be able to support you as well. So changeyourbias.com. You can also go to my Instagram page. There is a link there in my profile. Anywhere you follow me on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, you will be able to find the link as well.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say too, I'm coming. So I will be there with my Everything is Figureoutable pen. You know me, I'm a lifelong student with my notebook. I'm so excited. And that's why I was like, we got to do this live, because we got to get more people to learn. Because the brain is one of the most fascinating. I love it so much. So I can't learn enough. Okay. But I just saw Clary. The date and the time. I'm sorry, I'm going to be repetitive. I'm just going to be prompting you. So yes. So can you tell people the date and the time and the website again?
Absolutely. So the website is changeyourbias.com, changeyourbias.com. And it'll be next Tuesday on the 23rd, June 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be 2.5 hours. This is not a surface seminar. It's not one of those webinars where you don't get anything from it. We're doing deep dives. We're getting into the crux of the matter. We're going to the root of the potential problems. But you're going to come out with tools and strategies that are implementable, figureoutable, whateverable.
All of itable.
Yes, all of itable, because we got to go deeper. We stayed on the surface for too long, and we keep seeing society bubble up, and that's why you're seeing all that you're seeing. But I think people are ready to go deeper and do the deeper work, and to go down the deeper journey, go down the rabbit hole, if you will.
Yes. And the other thing it's like, let's do this together. You know, this is why it's cool on Instagram, right? We've got so many people all around the world. We're going to obviously keep this live up. That's why I wanted to do it today, so that people, you know what I mean, over the weekend, people could see it. And it's like, the more of us that understand these things, and we're having these deeper conversations and have that shared language and that shared understanding, that's the good stuff. That's where we can start creating some real change together.
Absolutely. When you understand your brain at the level that you're going to be trained, I mean, it I'm sorry, my battery went low. It really heightens your awareness. And you just operate differently. You show up differently. You engage differently with people. You're not quick to judge. I mean, you pause more often. You build up the mental muscles to really engage in, you know, a more considerate way. And you're also quick to challenge other people who you see or hear that is being, you know, unjust to other people. So it's going to be a peer pressure dynamic, you know, a collective movement. And we're not getting off this planet by ourselves. You know, it's not going to be one group that's going to evolve to their higher self. It's going to be us collectively. That's how we were designed, you know, as a social group, to evolve together. And I'm so excited for everyone to learn so much more about their brain and mind, so we can collectively move to the next level of this human experience. Aren't you ready, Maria?
Are you kidding me?
Go to the next level? I mean, God.
I'm strapped in. Like, come on. You know me. I'm a woman who loves, I like roller coasters, learning, action. I'm like this. I'm in.
Like, I see you. Let's go. Let's take off.
Yes, totally. So, you know, I'm like trying to just hold it together.
Right.
Tell us, so before we wrap up, again, it's the businesswoman in me. So
absolutely.
tell everybody one more. I want your name, the webinar, where to find it, what time.
Absolutely. I seen a question. Someone asked about the recording. Yeah, there will be a recording of this seminar. You'll have access for 2 months, and then 2 months of a private Facebook group, so we can continue to process, because I don't want this to be a one-off seminar. We got to still continue the conversation. Your brain is going to continue to process. It has to make connections. You know, it has to question itself. You know, you got to do the work. So yes, my name is Shantay Jovan Taylor. I'm a neuroscientist and success strategist, training coaches and leaders around the world to use their powerful brain better, so that they can operate at the highest level of themselves and help others to do the same, influence others to do the same, so we can collectively move to the next level. The name of the seminar is The Neuroscience of Unconscious Bias, taking place on Tuesday, next Tuesday, June 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time. And we're going to have an engaging 2.5-hour deep dive of understanding the greatest technology on the planet, an organic moving machine that's designed to get us to our higher selves. But we got some work to do, digging up those unconscious biases that may be, you know, causing undue harm to other people. But not just that, you know, we need to just separate which biases are the harmful ones and which ones are okay, you know, which ones are benign. We can do that together.
Yes.
And the name of the website is changeyourbias.com. Changeyourbias.com. I'm looking forward to everyone joining and just doing this deeper dive. Yes. Let's change the world.
Yes. I'm in. Thank you, Shante, so much, because we've had conversations, we've had little messages going back and forth. This is so exciting. Congratulations on what you're doing. I am so excited to be a student next Tuesday. I'm hoping everyone who gets a chance to watch this will come and join us. And even just for this awareness today of understanding, hey, we all have bias up here, and to remove the stigma from it, and to say, let's educate ourselves together. Let's understand how these beautiful brains work. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for who you are.
Thank you. And I have no judgment. You know, come as you are. Come with your experiences. There will be no judgment. There will only be growth. Okay, that's what I can promise you. Thank you and your team for allowing me this space and allowing me to share this message with the world. I really appreciate you all. And I can't wait till Tuesday.
Yes! Love you so much. Take good care of yourselves.
Yes.
Everyone who's joined us, you're watching. Thank you for being with us. And we hope to see you on Tuesday. Have a great, today is Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Exactly. And we love you all. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. And Shantay, thank you again. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.